Hey guys, thanks for checking out Quick Sessions Podcast. My name is Garrett Terrio, coming to you from inside Timberline Fitness Studio in Houston, Texas. And today what we're going to do, real quick one, is now that football season started, if you watched the game Sunday night, you watched Tom Brady just tear up the Steelers. And about a year or so ago, I read his book. His trainer, Alex Guerrero, created a book, and it's called the TB12 Method. I'm sure you've heard of it. I'm sure you've even probably made fun of it a little bit. What, he doesn't eat strawberries, tomatoes, yeah, all that stuff. It's fun, and we joke about it, but in all seriousness, the book is a good read. I recommend it to anybody who cares about health and fitness, whether you're a trainer or not. I think you should get in there and see what he has to say, because it's nothing mind-blowing. It's nothing that we haven't been practicing somewhat since the beginning of personal training, whenever that was. But in a nutshell, the training side of it focuses on something he calls muscle pliability. Now what that is, that's long, soft muscles. I know that doesn't sound correct because we always think of muscles as being hard. Someone with a lot of muscles has hard muscles, but all that is dense muscle. Tom Brady does not need extremely dense muscle. He's a quarterback, and be it he's in the NFL, and it's extremely physical even for quarterbacks, he doesn't need to bench press 300 pounds, right? He can get his regular reps of bench press in and then work on stretching, rolling out his muscles, tenderizing him is kind of what it actually ends up being. And that's why he comes out with this line of vibrating foam rollers and foam roller balls, and I'm sure a lot of percussive therapy type stuff is on the way. So essentially what the training aspect of it is not to overload your muscles as much, not worry about extremely heavy weights, but good full range of motion, stuff we've heard before, right? Nothing groundbreaking there. But also pliability work. In a nutshell, if I can explain this just in layman's terms, it is, let's say you are stretching your hamstring, for instance. While you're stretching your hamstring, imagine someone going under there, and while you're stretching, massaging or rolling out that muscle at the same time. That is, in a nutshell, what muscle pliability is. You want to flex that muscle and also roll it out at the same time. I'm not sure if that's the one and only type of muscle pliability. And there's a whole, inside the book, there's 2 chapters just on the exercises and the stretches. A lot of, some band work is involved, but dumbbells are still involved. It's not a no weightlifting regimen. It does go into the aspect of age with it, because as you're younger, you're born naturally as pliable as you'll probably ever be when you're a little baby. And as you get older, those muscles go under more pressure. You're lifting more weights. Life is just happening. And the muscles shorten and they harden. They become denser. And the big deal is as you get older is when you start introducing more pliability into your routine. So a guy who's in high school, let's say a high school football player, 17 years old, he can lift weights all day. He'll be fine. Should probably still work in some pliability just for health reasons, right? You don't want to pull hamstrings, strain your shoulder, what have you. But as you get older, according to Alex Guerrero and Tom Brady, pliability needs to become even more of your routine. I think for Tom Brady, it's something like 3/4 of his gym routine is muscle pliability. Meaning he'll go get his bench press in. We'll use a simple exercise if he even bench presses anymore. And then he'll spend a lot of time rolling his chest out, using the vibrator plate or the vibrating foam rollers on his chest. So that's just one example. You can do it for every body part. If you've heard of muscle activation techniques, it's in the same vein, but add stretching to it. It's a combination of stretching and muscle activation techniques. On either side, I'm sure I can be told, not exactly, but in a nutshell, that's just how it works. Now, from the diet side, I can't speak as much on that, but it's a lot of the stuff you hear all the time. It's stay away from processed foods, white flours and breads, things like that. Stay away from. Eat your vegetables raw. Don't eat as much red meat. Avoid red vegetables and fruits at night. All kinds of little things that we'll get into. Maybe we'll do a bigger podcast one day on the whole thing, but I just wanted to kind of bring that to attention Now the football season has started, and Tom Brady's, 42, 40? I don't know how old is he. He's too old for football. He is football old. But this regimen seems to be working pretty good for him. And it is a pretty strict regimen. And it's great if you read the book, you get a cookbook with it. It's a good read, and it's very interesting. And it's full of a lot of truth. Now, early in the podcast, you heard me say people make fun of it a lot. And that's too bad, because they're taking things they hear and blowing them out of proportion. Saying, oh, strawberries are bad for you. It's not that he doesn't ever eat strawberries. At night, he wants to keep the nightshades, I guess they call them, the tomatoes and the strawberries out of his diet. And I guess cherries go with it too. I don't know. It's been a while since I read the book, so I may be forgetting some things. But in general, it's great. And his trainer, Alex Guerrero, who's the real mind behind all this, gets such a bad rap as a snake oil salesman, which, if you're not familiar with that term, it's just someone who says they have the cure for cancer and doesn't, or anything like that. And it was a real bad rap because he said his diet and workout plan helps to combat cancer. And maybe he phrased it a little different. I can't remember exactly how the interview went, but essentially it got spun into he says he can cure cancer. And any responsible adult, I don't think, would say that based off of exercise and diet regimen. But if the key is to fight inflammation, which is the whole point of this diet, is to keep the inflammation as low as possible, rolling out, being pliable, that gets inflammation out of your muscles and your joints and your tendons and all that stuff. If that's the point of this whole exercise, then yes, it should combat cancer. Cancer is inflammation. It's not going to cure cancer. If you have a genetic disposition to cancer, it's not going to help, right? That's pretty obvious stuff that we all know, but even a doctor will tell you if you can keep your body's inflammation low, it helps your body avoid or combat cancer. Because, like I said, that's essentially what it is. Any book you read on cancer, it's going to give you the 20 best foods, leeks and all that stuff. So I think the guy got a real bad rap for that. Now, there may be more that I'm not remembering, because I can't say I've kept up with Alex Guerrero's career very much. But I do kind of like that he's viewed as a little crazy, because anytime you need to come up with something new, something groundbreaking like this TB12, you can't just be thinking like everybody else. And that's always been hard for me to grasp, because the classics have always worked, right? We do squats, we run for cardio, we'll bench press, we'll do all kinds of different we'll do kind of the same stuff they were doing 50 years ago, because a lot of the classics are just so good. They were figured out very early. People hate squats because they're hard. They figured that out in the 20s or whenever they started squatting. So being able to branch out from that is something I definitely admire. I don't always agree with it. Sometimes I think people get a little too cute. But with this guy, Alex Guerrero, who really is the mastermind behind this, Tom Brady is not his first client. He's just taking it to the next level. I think even in Houston, they're opening up a TB12, which I'd be very interested to see how they run the actual business. Before this, they just had one up in New England. And so I do like that he's innovative about it. I like that he sticks with principles that are taught to anybody that has a fitness certification or studied kinesiology in college. Stuff we've known, but has never really caught on. I can guess why. I'm guessing it just takes a long time to stretch. Muscle pliability takes a partner to really help you out to get a real good job. You can do it yourself, but it's a lot tougher. And you don't feel like you're making progress in the gym, whereas if you go in, you lift weights, you feel better. You feel like you've got your muscles working, the blood flowing, you feel good. You can actually see those gains, whereas with muscle pliability, you can't see it. You'll feel better, but the whole thing in a nutshell, if I had to finish it off, is that muscle pliability, which probably should be its own subject, gives you healthier, longer, softer muscles. And that's ultimately what you want to be able to perform any kind of task efficiently. Whereas just lifting as much weight as possible and sticking to all the standard isolating exercises is going to give you denser, shorter muscles, so you won't be as flexible. So not rocket science, but definitely the best marketing takeover of any exercise program. Not of any, right? The CrossFit craze and the P90X craze is insane. But for something that is so different as far as how you should exercise, it really is an impressive system that comes with a diet. It's very strict. And if you can hold to it, athletically, you're going to do great. You're going to be fine long into your life. I should probably do more pliability myself, but I've definitely increased it as I've gotten older. Granted, I'm 31. I should have plenty of pliability left, but I don't, because I go to the gym and I lift a ton of weights and then just go run, and I'm pretty basic like that. But things like the foam roller, the percussion therapy, all that has been introduced into my workout regimen, the foam roller, and it definitely helps. It helps alleviate soreness. It helps hold off strains and all that. And this TB12 kind of just takes it one step further. I think it's great, especially for older clients. I recommend anybody listening to this to go read the book, even if you're not that into fitness. It's interesting. It's very smart. I am a big fan of Alex Guerrero. Tom Brady's fine. And it's just a way of looking at things that you don't really grow up with. But now that you see it, it makes complete sense. And it's something that if you have the time for it, which ultimately is what holds back any workout routine, if you have the time to get in this extra muscle pliability as well as your regular weightlifting routine, you're going to see benefits from it very early. Within weeks. It'll just be a massive difference. You're not going to get sore as much. You get leaner. You'll be more efficient with your lifts. Also, I think with the TB12 method, though, there's no isolation exercises. If I remember that right. Could be wrong, but it's something about going through full range of motion. I don't know if that's just for Tom Brady, because it was in TB12, or if that's just for the regular person. So that you might have to find out on your own. Anyway, guys, just a quick roundup on the TB12 method. The football season had me thinking about it, and the one coming to Houston, which I have no doubt will be very successful, made me think to come on and just talk about it a little bit. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out Quick Sessions Podcast. My name is Garrett Terry again. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Quick Sessions Podcast. You can visit the website, www.quicksessionpodcast.com. Please, if you have not, subscribe, rate, review in the Google Play Store, or the Apple Pod Center, or on Spotify. I think you can rate stuff on there too. Anyway, appreciate it, guys. See you next time.